Sahara. Welcome back to my channel. So, sorry for the late update for this video. It's not about the book I'm currently reading, even though I need to do that video. Last few days I haven't actually read because one of my favorite TV shows, Charm, is leaving Netflix tomorrow, so I've been kind of binge watching it. Actually, it's past midnight, so technically today is October 1st, technically. So, I had to binge watch it. I finished it just a couple minutes before midnight, and I was so relieved because I had to finish that show before it left Netflix, or else I would have cried, seriously. Even though I've seen it over a million times, that doesn't matter. Okay, so you guys, if you follow my channel, you're probably expecting my input on the book I'm currently reading, because I'm on the third book of the series. I've not read this yet. I've read the prologue. No, I read more than that. Never mind, I read more than that. I've read a couple chapters. I'm behind. I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. But yeah, I'm still at the very beginning. So but this video is gonna be about the Trick or Treadathon that is happening. A lot of booktubers are doing it, and I haven't done something like this before, so I was intrigued, and I'm not 100% sure I will be able to do it, but I'm going to try. There's 8 prompts, and I had to find a book for each prompt. I did kind of coincide a couple of them, one of them is I'm going to use for 2 of them or whatnot. There's one of them I'm not positive I'm going to finish because it's a book I don't have high hopes for. And then there's one prompt that I can't do at all, and I'll explain it when I get to that specific prompt. So let's just get into this, shall we? Number 1, witch. Read a book with a female lead who will probably hex you if you mess with her. So that's the book I'm currently reading. I'm at the very beginning, so I think it still counts. I'm going to say it still counts. But in the series, one of the main characters on here wasn't really on the first 2 books that often, except for a background character, but she's a main factor in this book. And if you've seen the TV show Ever After High, which this is the book, which I have videos for the first 2 books. I'm gonna have a video for this one soon and a video for the 4th one soon. But if you like the show Ever After High, you should read this. But the character Lizzie Harps, daughter of the Queen of Hearts, she is a main character in this book, and if you know her from the TV show, she's exactly like in the book. So how should I put this? She's, I mean, I love her. She's actually my favorite character, and that's why I'm really sad they didn't really get into her that much. That's why I'm so happy she's a main factor of this book. That makes me really happy. I mean, all the Wonderlandians are my favorite, but she's my favorite. You know, Maddie and Kitty are my favorites too, but Liz is number 1. But she is someone you do not want to mess with. If she was a witch, she would definitely hex you if you even looked at her the wrong way. She's someone you just do not want to mess with, and you gotta love her. I do. I love her. So I obviously had to choose this one. What's the second one? Vampire. Read a book with a love interest you shouldn't meet in a dark alley, but you want to. Now, this one was a little trickier, and I almost, and the first thing that came to my mind was Mikey from the Skin Tracker trilogy. If you saw my videos on it, then you know a little bit about him and that whole situation, because I love Mikey, but I just read that trilogy recently, and it's to read a whole trilogy in a month plus all these other books I have to read. I don't have standalones. I don't read standalones, so this was, except for Once in a Blue Moon. So this was really hard, to do. And when I read series, I have to read them in order. So this stuff like this can be very tricky, but I think I managed, especially. But anyways, but I found another one. I've only read this book once, and I've had it for years. It's a little bit more beat up than I like, but I have moved a lot. I'm finally in a place I can see myself living in for the next few years, thankfully. But my sister actually gave it to me for my, I want to say birthday. Might have been Christmas, but I'm leaning towards birthday. But that was like several years ago. But this is it. Kind of a thick book, but this is the book I told you I'm gonna use for 2 prompts, which I'll get into in a minute. I'm not big on retellings, to be honest. But this author has all these strings of retellings of classic tales. I'm also not a big fan of classics. Actually, I like retellings more than classics, but that's another story for another time. Anyways, this author basically writes about like a fairy tale, but twisted. Like this one, it's called As Old as Time. It's about Beauty and the Beast, but it's instead it says, "What if Belle's mother cursed the beast?" So that's a twist on it. And this is the only one I've read so far. I didn't even know they existed until my sister got this. She gave me this one because she knew Beauty and the Beast was always like my favorite fairy tale when I was younger. Still is one of my favorites. But and so because of that, this is the one she got me, and I'm glad she did. I did enjoy it, even though I only read it once. And I've been wanting to, before I like knock off a bunch of my TBR list, I want to and since I don't have a job to get any more books for my TBR list at the moment, I'm trying to get a job. That's another story too. I have more time to since I can't buy the books I need for my TBR. It also gives me an opportunity to reread a lot of my books I haven't read in a while, which is what I've been trying to do, because there's several of my books I've only read once or I haven't read in a while. I want to finish that before I really get into books I have never read before. So this is a chance to do that, and it was a good story, and I liked it, so I want to read the other books from the series. I mean, they're all technically standalones, because it's all by the same author, and they all kind of have the same theme, a classic fairy tale that's been twisted, but technically they are standalones because they don't go together. But anyways, you know what I mean. So there's that book. Werewolf, read a book only at night. This is also what I'm using for this, because it's a pretty thick book, so and if I only read it at night, then it knocks off 2 of my points right then and there. So yeah, I tend to stay up pretty late anyways, but once I get a job, that's going to be a little bit more difficult. So let's see how that goes, shall we? What's the 3rd one? Or 4th one? I'm on the 4th one now. Ghost, read a book set in a place you want to haunt. Now this was probably one of the hardest, because there's so many places I want to haunt, and and then I end up choosing the first book of a series, 4 books, that's actually which is actually a series I've been wanting to reread after the series I'm currently reading, which you would know if you saw some of my recent videos, because I talked about it. I'm probably gonna save this one to like the end of the month. I might not do this entire list in order, but it doesn't matter if I do them in order. But I'll read this one out at the end of the month, so I can read this, and then once November comes, I can read the rest of the series, because I have a thing where I have to read the series like in order. Like I can't read like this and then other books. I don't usually do that. I mean, I have before, but not usually. This is the book. It's Monster High. Different from the Ghoul Friends, which I've made a few videos about the Monster High Ghoul Friends series, which is also 4 books. This is a completely different story, completely different author. It's about the, Monster High, though it follows the main characters it follows on the movies. Unlike Ghoul Friends, which followed characters on the movies, but they were more side characters. These follow the actual main characters, but it is a different story. Like Monster High doesn't actually exist yet, and I almost said vampires, but there's more than just vampires. The monsters have to fit in, pretend to be normies, pretty much, aka humans, and try to fit in. But that doesn't exactly work, like obviously. But there's 4 books. I think I only read them once. I really enjoy the series, not as much as the Ghoul Friends, but I really did enjoy the series, and I really want to reread it, because I haven't read it in quite some time, and I'm a huge fan of Monster High, so I want to read that, see how that goes. and I've been talking about rereading that anyways on my channel. So, number 5, demon. Read a book that has more than one point of view, like those possessed by demons. So, I originally thought of the third book of a trilogy because the first book is in Dorothea's, the Storymakers, which I think I also mentioned on this channel. Dorothea, it follows Dorothea's point of view in the first book. Rexy's in the second book, and in the third book, it goes from chapter to chapter. Dorothea, Rexy, like that. So I almost did that, but I was like, even though I have read these series once, I didn't really want to, like, just read the third book, and it would take too much time to read all 3. But then I remembered that this book, which is actually the 4th book of the book I'm currently reading, is actually in different point of views, technically. If you've seen my last few channels, my last few videos, I explained a little bit about this book, so it's a little bit different. I mean, each chapter is about a different character, and this one's about Lizzie. I'm really excited about this one because that's my favorite. And it's funny because that's the one I opened up to, too, as well. So, it follows each character, or not each character because there's like a lot of characters, but some of the characters, and it's like a storybook collection, so it's a little bit different, but it's part of the series because this is from the same storyline as the other 3 books, but it's showing the characters and what they did. It's pretty much a prequel. It showed on the first book was them heading to Ever After High for Legacy Year because it was a huge year for these students, and this one is pretty much showing like what happened during the summer before Legacy, you know. And so yeah, this is the 4th book in the series anyway, so after this one I might go ahead and skip to this one because like it's just a thing I have, so I'll do that. But I thought it would be perfect, you know, and yeah, so now let's see. Number 6, Siren. Read a book someone has recommended to you. Now this was hard because no one directly recommended a book to me before, not that I can remember at least. Unless you count my sister giving me this book, then that's kind of her recommending it to me, I guess. But unless you count booktubers recommending books as well, I don't own any of those books yet. I do have a lot more books on my TBR list I want to read now, thanks to booktubers. But I don't have those books at the moment, and I can't get to them. But this book, I actually don't have high hopes for it. I did when I first got it. I actually got it for free. That's a long story though. I might get into that story when I do a video on it. If I do a video on it, we'll see. But and until I heard some negative reviews about it, I don't usually see. I'm not the kind of person. I don't really care about reviews. If it has bad reviews, I don't care. If I want to try it out, I'm gonna try it out, see if I like it, because you know. But I don't know. It was, I guess it's what my friend said something about reading it when we were talking and catching up, like a year ago, I think it was. She said some things about it, and it kind of downplayed my hopes, but I figured, hey, now's a good time to actually try it, see if I end up liking it, and if not, I can get rid of it, because I'm planning on doing a TBR video soon anyways. If I don't like this book, then I'll probably do it then, and hopefully I can at least get through it. I'm going to try at least go halfway, because I mentioned before that I usually try to I usually read at least half of it before I give up on a book, because in the way I see it, if a book doesn't get good by the middle point, then it's not going to. But anyways, that book is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Yeah, I mean, it looked really intriguing. It sounded intriguing, but I don't know. I just ended up having a bad feeling about it. But I'm gonna try it anyway, see how I feel, and if I want to continue the series or not, if I even want to keep the book or not. I have no idea. But I'm gonna give it a try. If not, my best friend said that she would like the book if I don't like it. So if not, I'm gonna send it to her and see if she wants it. Because I'm gonna at least give it a chance. Because I did pick it up for a reason, so I think it at least deserves a chance. But so yeah. Number 7, Faye. Read a book you've always been too scared to pick up. That's the thing. I don't usually read horror books, but I love horror movies. And I've even watched a horror TV show. I think I only watched one of those, though. But I watch a lot of horror movies. But for some reason with books, it's not that I don't like horror books. I just never reached toward them. I even own a horror book, which my friend said that she likes that. I might send to her, because I don't even know if I'm going to try that one. It's The Cell by Stephen King. I mean, I like The It by Stephen King, but I don't know if I ever want to read the book, which is weird, because usually I want to read the book first, and then usually I like the book better, in most cases, not always. But this was the one thing that I couldn't find, because because even though I don't reach towards horror, and I don't particularly, I don't know why, though, for books. I don't know, I don't get it, but I don't, it's like I don't have any desire to read horror, but I love to watch it. That made me sound a little bit like a psychopath, but we're gonna move on from that. So I do not have one for this because I don't read horror. I watch it, not read it. Man, what's wrong with me? I blame my mother. Okay, so yeah, because there's no book I'm actually, but it wouldn't work. Even if I did pick up horror or not, it wouldn't work, because even though I don't reach for horror books, there's no book I'm too scared to pick up. There's just not. I mean, if I did have any desire to read horror, I would pick it up in a heartbeat, because I do love horror, and maybe it's just a block, and eventually I want to get into horror. I don't know. Maybe it's also because I'm mostly into fantasy. Like 99% of what I read is fantasy, not except for Erin Hunter. She's like the only author I read that's not fantasy. Like, seriously. But anyways, it doesn't matter, because in the end, there's no book I'm too scared to pick up. So, okay. And the last one, number 8, Zombie. Read a book that features disaster. Now, with fantasy, just about every fantasy book features a disaster, doesn't it? Does it not? Like, unless I just read disaster fantasy, I don't know. But I decided to pick up another book that I talked about in a recent video that I wanted to reread, which I only read once. Because when I was doing a video on my Ever After High books I was reading, I was like, I explained how I was going to read my Monster High series again, and this book, The Legend of Shadow High, is a Monster High and Ever After High crossover, and it was really good, and I like it, and I want to reread it, and I figured this would be perfect because there was a huge disaster, which kind of got everyone to where they were. You know, the two realms meeting, and they had to go to another realm, and you know, the realms can clash, because that could end up really badly. But yeah, but I want to reread it, so I chose this one. Now, I'm also a writer, and I try to write books, and I actually have a published novel, which I published at the beginning of this year, and I'm hoping to publish the sequel at the beginning of next year, you know, kind of do that, like, once a year kind of thing, like, spend the entire year perfecting it, and then the beginning of each year, either January or February, around that time point, publish it. So I might spend a lot of October reading, but then November and December, I'm going to read, obviously, but I'm going to also spend a lot of time working on the sequel, because I don't even know how far into it I am. I mean, I don't even remember what chapter I'm in. I just worked on it yesterday. Like, seriously. But, there's a lot I still have planned for this book, so, I don't know exactly, like, I don't know when, I'm gonna be done with this book, but I'm gonna definitely work on it a lot for the next few months. But October, I might spend a lot reading, because I really want to do this, because I've never done anything like this before. So these are the books I chose. Voila. see. Beautiful. So yeah, we're gonna see. Ow, I hurt myself. We're gonna see how that goes. I hope I can read them and all the way through all of them. Maybe not Red Queen if it does not get on my if I don't end up liking it, but we'll see. So yeah. But if you want to check out my book, I would love if you checked it out. It's called Jasmine Perez and the Wicked Sorceress. It's available on Amazon. And I'm working on the sequel, like I mentioned. And so I hope you enjoy my book. And I have other series planned too. After my Jasmine series, I have so many series planned. I have them all down on my phone because, like, otherwise I would completely end up forgetting about them. But so yeah, and so I try to balance my time from reading to working on my book. And when I work on my book, it's also when I watch a lot of TV, so that way I can kind of multitask and get that done. When I'm reading, I have to kind of just read, but it'll be a lot harder when I get a job, which I've been trying all month, and I might actually get close tomorrow to getting one. But yeah, so hopefully I can still do this with a job, because that's a lot of books. And I love reading. I read a lot, and it doesn't usually take me that long if I'm into it. So it shouldn't actually take me that long, especially this series. I mean, the first book took me a long time because I did not get into the first book. The first book was not that good. But the second one, I finished in a couple of days, and this one I like. I'm gonna like even more. I already know it because it follows my favorite characters, and I technically already read it once. There's a long story I explained in one of my previous videos. But so I love this one even more. So this one will take me in no time at all. And I probably would have already. I know I can't speak. I know I would have already finished it if I wasn't trying to finish Charm before they took off Netflix. So yeah. But these books all except for the Red Queen I've read before. Oh, and except for the fourth book of the After High series, but I don't think that would take that long either. But other than that, the other books I've actually read before. I mean, like this one, I like it. It's not one of my favorite books of all time, so I won't like breeze through it, but I should still get through it pretty fast. So what order am I gonna even do this in? Since I'm not doing it in the order of the prompts. This is obviously first, and then the fourth book, obviously. And then, let's see, I'm probably gonna do, I don't know. Which book should I do next? I mean, I like this one. I mean, actually, technically, while I'm reading these and the other books, I could actually read this one since I'm doing this one for 2 prompts for the, one with the love interest you don't want to meet in a dark alley, and for the night one, so I can only read this at night anyways. So if I read this and for a few hours every night for the month, and then read the other ones whenever I want to read during the day, then that works. So this one I'll pretty much just be reading throughout the month while I read the other ones. So I'll read these 2 and this one all at the same time, and then I'll probably read this one next, see if I can get into it, and then this one, and then probably this one. I wanted to leave this for the end of the month anyways because it's the first of a series, so then once November hits, I can read the other books at the beginning of November while I also work on the sequel of my Jasmine Perez series. So yeah, those are my plans, and these are my books. So tell me if you read any of these, and tell me your thoughts on the Red Queen, because I don't know, I have mixed feelings, and I'm kind of nervous to read it, to be honest. Because it's like part of me wants to like it, but part of me doesn't think I will, and I don't know why. I mean, honestly, I've read a lot of books, and majority fantasy, except for Aaron Hunter's books. But I've never actually read a book I didn't like except for 2 series. I think it was just 2. Oh, unless you count the first book of this series, which I got into in a recent video, how I ranted about not liking this book because it annoyed me, and I got very annoyed. But I do like the rest of the series. But the other books I do not like are Twilight and Hunger Games. Which is funny because when I first read Hunger Games, I don't remember it being that bad. You know, I loved Peeta, I remember that, and I rooted for Peeta and Katniss. But now, when older, I don't like Hunger Games. I mean, I don't hate it, but I definitely don't like it. Twilight, on the other hand, I hate, which I've mentioned a few times on my channel because I hate them. Like, I hate Twilight. Like, seriously, with a passion. It's like the only book I probably ever read that I actually hate. I mean, not the first book in this book I didn't like. It was boring, but I didn't actually hate it. I hate a character in it, but that's another story. So yeah, I kind of ranted a little bit more than I meant to. So let me go through one more time what books I chose. Okay. So for which read a book with a female lead who will probably have to mess with her, I chose this one, Lizzie Hotz. Then Vampire, read a book with a love interest you shouldn't be in the dark, and Werewolf, read a book only at night, which I'm using both for this one. I never said the author of this one, did I? Shannon Hale. This one is As Old as Time, A Twisted Tale, by Liz Braswell. Then, Ghost, read a book set in a place you'd want to haunt. I chose this one, Legend of Shadow High, by Shannon Hale, Dean Hale. Then for Demon, read a book that has more than one point of view. I chose Ever After High, Once Upon a Time, a Story Collection by Shannon Hale. Then for Siren, read a book someone has recommended to you. I chose this one, Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. Then I skipped Fae because I can't do Fae. I really can't. Number 8 is Zombie, read a book that features a disaster. I went with Monster High by Lacey Harrison. I'm not really good with authors. Like most authors, I don't even know. Like, I'm recently learning the authors of some of my favorite novels, my favorite series. I'm finally like learning like the names, like Skin Jacket Trilogy by Neil Shusterman, which I recently remembered, I should say, because I like knew it, but I was like I never remembered it. The Avalanche Trilogy, I remembered the author's name until now. I think it's like Laura something. I might be wrong, but yeah, I think it's Laura J. Burns. Isn't that it? I might be wrong, but I don't feel like getting it, so I guess I will find out if I'm right or wrong later. Like, the only authors I really knew were J.K. Rowling, obviously, Harry Potter, and Aaron Hunter, which is my favorite author, because it's the only author I actually read more than one series from, Secrets and Warriors, and I'm going to finish Warriors and read Survivors and Braveland soon. If you're not read, you should read it, because I highly, highly recommend. And, of course, I can't go one video without mentioning Secrets somewhere, can I? Like, seriously, like... Sorry, I'm obsessed with Secrets. If you're new to my channel, I'm beyond obsessed with Secrets. Secrets like the best book in the world. Some of my favorite characters. One of my favorite couples. I'm a huge Secrets fan. It's such an amazing story. There's 12 books in the series, and the adventure, the friendship, the relationships, the everything, and the writing is so beautiful. I love Aaron Hunter, and I love Warriors too, and I hope I will love Survivors and Bravelands. but Secrets is the best and so underrated, and it makes me so sad. And this has gone, and I went on another rant because I can't help it. So, anyways, these are the books I chose. So, and they toppled over. Of course they did. Stay. So, yeah. I hope I can get through them this month. We will see. Because I have hope, but I'm not certain. So, please like and subscribe and comment if you read any of these, if you like any of these, and if you're doing this too, because I would like to see like what kind of ones you'll be doing. So, I will see you later.